Hi everyone, Kevin here. Today I want to show you the top 20 formulas and functions in Google Sheets. We're going to start off pretty basic. If you've never used Google Sheets before, this will give you a good foundation to build upon. As we go through formula by formula, we're going to get a little more complex. By the end of this video, if you run through all of these, you'll be pretty proficient in using formulas and functions in Google Sheets. Feel free to use the timestamps down below to jump around. Otherwise, let's jump on the PC and get started. Here I am in Google Sheets, and formula number one that we're looking at is addition. I wasn't kidding when I said that we would start out with the basics and then we'll work our way up from there. To enter a formula into Google Sheets, we always start out by entering an equal sign. I'm going to click in cell B5. B is the column, 5 is the row, and I'll start by entering an equal sign. This lets Google Sheets know that I want to enter a formula. For addition, it's pretty simple. You could simply enter the number, hit the plus sign, and then the other number that you want to add up. Here I see a tooltip telling me that it's 2. Also, I could press the enter key and this will now sum up those values. Now, of course, the power from a spreadsheet comes from being able to refer to different cells within the spreadsheet versus using it like a calculator and entering in the numbers you want to add up. For instance, we sold 200 chocolate chip cookies and 150 snickerdoodle cookies. What if I want to sum these up to know how many we sold in total? Well, instead of typing in the individual values, I could refer to the individual cells. To do that, once again, let's hit the equal sign, and now instead of typing in the numbers, I'm going to click on cell A3. I'll enter the plus sign and then I'll click on cell B3. So by doing that, I'm now referring to these individual cells, and in my formula, you see that it says A3 plus B3. Now, just like before, I'll press the enter key and I could see that we sold 350 chocolate chip cookies and snickerdoodle cookies. That's a pretty good sales total. Next, let's take a look at number 2, subtraction. How many more chocolate chip cookies did we sell than snickerdoodle cookies? Well, this is a subtraction question, and we want to take 200 and subtract 150. Now, just like before, let's enter the equal sign to let Google Sheets know that we're entering a formula. Now, once again, instead of typing in the actual values, I'm going to refer to the cell. So I'll click on A3 for the number of chocolate chip cookies sold, and now I'll enter the subtract symbol, and I'll click on the 150 snickerdoodle cookies. So how many more chocolate chip cookies did we sell than snickerdoodles? It turns out it was 50 more. I guess chocolate chip cookies are more popular. This brings us now to formula number 3, multiplication. At the Kevin Cookie Company, we currently have a promotion going on where for every chocolate chip cookie we sell, we donate $2 to charity. Yes, we're doing some civic good at the Kevin Cookie Company. So I want to take our 200 cookies and multiply it by $2 to see how much money we're going to donate to charity. That's a multiplication question. Now, once again, let's enter the equal sign, and I'm going to refer up to the 200 chocolate chip cookies sold. Next, I want to enter the multiplication symbol. And it turns out that the multiplication symbol on a computer is an asterisk. So enter an asterisk and we're going to donate $2. So I'm simply going to enter the number 2. Now in this example, we're combining both references to cells and I'm simply entering a number. It's perfectly fine if you mix the two. So let's hit enter just like we did before, and we see that we owe $400 to charity to follow through on our social good. Formula number 4 is division. One thing we found at the Kevin Cookie Company is that each employee is capable of making about 100 cookies a day. So how many employees do we need to make 200 cookies a day? Well, that's a division question. Once again, just like we did before, let's enter the equal sign to let Google Sheets know that we're entering a formula. Now we have 200 cookies, so I'm going to click on cell A3 to refer to that cell. Next, for division, the division sign on a computer is a /, and I mentioned before that each employee can make about 100 cookies. So we're going to take our 200 cookies that sold, divide by about 100 per employee, and then hit enter. So it turns out that we need 2 employees to be able to make these 200 cookies. Now that we've looked at addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, let's bring it all together. I want to know how many employees we need to make all of these cookies. First, I'm going to add up the total number of cookies sold, and then I want to divide it by 100 cookies per employee, and that'll tell us how many employees we need. So once again, let's go down into this cell and let's enter an equal sign to kick off our formula. Now first, I want to add up all these values, and I'm going to use parentheses so I could do all of the addition first. I'm going to click through all the different cells and add up these values. Once I add up all the values, I'm going to close the parentheses, and next I want to divide by 100 cookies per employee. So I'm going to enter the / for division and then enter in 100. I can see the answer up here, or here I'll click on enter, and it tells me that we need about 6.25 employees to make all of these cookies that we're selling. Now, I probably won't be able to hire 0.25 employees unless I get someone part-time, but just to be safe and have some buffer, I'll probably hire 7 employees to make all these cookies. This brings us to our next two formulas, min and max. When you have a set of numbers, you can very easily calculate what the min is and what the max is. So which cookie sold the least? Well, let's use min. Once again, let's enter the equal sign, and this time we're going to type in min. I'm going to open the parentheses, and now I could select all of these values. I could close the parentheses, and when I hit enter, Google Sheets will automatically identify which one sold the least. Here I could see the min was 50, and that's our peanut butter cookie. Just like with min, I can also enter max. So now instead of entering min, I'll type in max, open the parentheses, highlight all of these values, and close the parentheses and hit enter. And here I could see that we sold the most of the chocolate chip cookie, where we sold 200 cookies. That's a popular cookie, and I could understand why. They are delicious. This brings us to formulas 7, 8, and 9. These are different ways of calculating averages. And just to refresh everyone, we're going to look at the mean, the median, and the mode. To calculate the mean, well, this is truly the average, where we take all of the different values. I have 7 values here. We're going to add all of them up and then divide by 7, and that'll tell us the mean. But luckily, Google has a formula that does this for us. So within the cell, let's type in equals and then type out average. I'm going to open the parentheses and highlight all 7 of these values, or this range of values, and then I'm going to close the parentheses and hit enter. So here I could see that on average for one of our cookie types, we sell about 103.57 cookies. Next, let's look at the median, and the median is the middlemost number. So here, looking at all the numbers above, my guess is it's probably 100, but let's let Google figure this out for us. Here, let's enter the equal sign and then type in median. Next, let's open the parentheses, and just like we did with mean, let's highlight all of the values where we want to find the median and then close the parentheses. When I hit enter, here I see that the middle value is 100. Lastly, let's look at how we could calculate the mode. If you remember, mode is the value that shows up most frequently or most commonly in your data set. Now, just glancing at this, you'll see that most of these values are unique, except we have 50 show up 3 times. So that's going to be our mode, but let's see how we could use Google Sheets to calculate this for us. Once again, I enter the equal sign, type in mode, and here I'm going to highlight these 7 values, close the parentheses, and hit enter. And there we see the number that shows up the most often in this data set is 50. We're now on formula number 10, and it's getting a little bit more complex than where we started, but don't worry, these are tools that you'll be able to use to make your life so much easier. Now, we sold all these different cookies across our New York City and our London locations. I want to add up how many cookies we sold, but I don't want to click through and have to say, well, this cell plus this cell plus this cell, because that's going to take a while. Luckily, we can use the sum formula function to calculate this for us. First off, just like we've been doing this whole time, let's enter the equal sign. And now let's type in sum. Let's open the parentheses, and I could simply highlight all of the values that I want to sum or all the values that I want to add up. Then I'm going to close the parentheses and hit enter. And here I can see that across our New York City store and our London store, we sold a total of 1,528 cookies. That's a lot of cookies. As another added bonus, you can also highlight all of the values down below, and in the bottom right hand corner you can see a quick sum down here. Along with sum, you can see the average, the min, the max, the count, and other helpful values if you don't want to type in a formula. So just an added bonus. Formula number 11, what if I just want to sum up specific values? For instance, what if I just want to know how many chocolate chip cookies did we sell? Now I could look at the list and say, well, here's a chocolate chip cookie, here's a chocolate chip cookie, and I could add them up, it's 415. But imagine you had a massive list and you can't just eyeball it. That's where SUMIF comes in. Basically what it's doing is, if it finds a chocolate chip cookie, it'll sum up or add up all of those values. So how do we use it? Well, once again, let's enter the equal sign, and this time we're going to type in SUMIF. Then let's open the parentheses. Here, my range that I'm going to be evaluating against is the name of the cookie. I want to look against this list and see where instances of chocolate chip show up, so I'm going to select that as a range. Now I'm going to enter in a comma, and for my criterion, I want it to be chocolate chip. I'm going to insert a quote, and I'm going to type in chocolate chip. Once I type in chocolate chip, I'm going to close the quote, and now I'll insert a comma again. Now this third value says, well, what is the sum range? Basically what that means is when it finds chocolate chip, what value should it add up? And I wanted to use this column with the numbers sold. Now I'm all done with my formula, so I can close the parentheses and hit enter. This tells me now that we sold 415 chocolate chip cookies. That's our most popular cookie, so it's understandable that it sold so much. Formula number 12, I want to count how many cookies had any sales at all. Now, when I look at this table here, I see that 5 different types of cookies had some sales. 2 of the cookies had no sales. I guess graham cracker cookies and whoopie pie cookies aren't that popular at our NYC location. I can use the count formula to help me with this. Just like we've been doing all along, let's insert the equal symbol and then let's type in count. Next, let's open the parentheses, and I'm going to highlight all of these values, and then I'm going to close the parentheses. Now, with the count function, all it's doing is it's looking for cells that have some numeric value in it. Now, you see that only 5 have a numeric value, and 2 of them have a text value. When I hit enter, it's only going to count the numeric values, so it tells me that 5 cookies had some sales associated with them. Now let's say I just want to know how many different types of cookies were for sale, whether or not they had sales. That's where we could use the count A formula. Here when we look at this, well, we had 7 different types of cookies for sale, so let's count this up. So once again, let's enter the equal sign, type in count A, open the parentheses, and we could simply highlight all of these cells. Once again, it's going to calculate any cell that has a value in it. When I hit enter, we were selling 7 different cookies, whether or not they had any sales. Lastly, let's use Countif to count just the cookies that had at least 130 sales. So basically what Countif does is you could set some type of criteria. In this case, it had sales over 130. So here, once again, let's insert the equal sign, and now we'll type in Countif. Next, let's open the parentheses, and here again I see a helpful hint telling me how I can use this formula. Now once again, I'm going to insert my range, and this is my range of cells. Next, we'll insert a comma, and I need to type in my criterion, and once again I want to know cookies that sold over 130. I'm going to insert quotes, and I want to type in greater than 130, and then I'll close the quotes and close the parentheses and hit enter. So only 2 of our cookies sold over 130, and that's the chocolate chip and the snickerdoodle, our 2 most popular cookies. Formula number 15, and this is a long word, concatenate. So what does concatenate mean? Well, you can take 2 values in different cells, and then you can bring them together into one cell, and you're not just limited to 2 cells, you could bring together any number of items. For instance, right now, cookie is in cell A3 and monster is in cell B3. I'd like to bring them together, so once again, let's enter the equal sign and then type in concatenate. Once we enter it in, we can open the parentheses, and I want to add cookie, and then I'll insert a comma, and I want to combine monster. Now I could close the parentheses and hit enter, and you see that it pulled together Cookie Monster. Unfortunately though, there's no space between Cookie Monster, and I would like there to be a space. Well, once again, like I was saying, Concatenate can bring together any number of items. So here I want to put a space between A3 and B3, so let's simply enter quotes, add a space, close the quotes, and then I'll insert another comma. The way to read this is we're combining cell A3, then we're combining a space, and then we're combining cell B3. Now that I'm all done, let's hit enter, and yes, look at that, Cookie Monster has a space between him. Formula number 16 is the if function, and this allows us to run logic against our sheet. Now at the Kevin Cookie Company, we recently got our customer favorability ratings back, and as you can see, and as expected, most customers love our cookies and they rate them pretty highly, but it looks like we have a few trouble spots. Here in the US, they don't seem to like our fortune cookies, and in China, they really dislike our fortune cookies. Now I want to use an if function to evaluate if we need to investigate any of these cookies to see if there are any quality issues. So once again, like we've been doing throughout, enter the equal sign and let's type in if. Next, let's open our parentheses. Once again, you see helpful information about how you can use the formula. Now, it starts off by saying enter a logical expression. This is basically the test that we want to run. I want to see if, let's say 94% is greater than 50%. If the favorability rating is under 50%, we should probably investigate. So I'll select 94%, and then I'll say, is it greater than, let's say 50%? 50% is 0.5. Next, I'll insert a comma, and if it's true, if it is greater, I'll simply say all good because we don't need to take any action. Next, I'll enter a comma, and if it's not true, what do we want to do? Well, we need to investigate, so I'll insert another quote, and here I'll say investigate, and let's throw an exclamation mark in there just to give it some urgency. Then I'll close the quotes and close the parentheses, and there's my if formula. When I hit enter now, I see that our chocolate cookies in the United States are all good. Now, if I want to pull this formula and apply it everywhere else, I could simply click on the corner here and drag it all the way down. This will apply the formula to each individual row here. Now, I see that for the fortune cookies in the United States, we need to investigate that. That's a very low rating. And here in China, maybe we'll just discontinue the cookie. Formula number 17 is Vlookup, and that stands for vertical lookup. I have a table here with countries and their associated sales, revenue, cost, and profit, and I want to list the store manager next to each one of these rows. Now, each country has its own store manager. Down in this table below, we see that in the United States, Heath Chips is our store manager, and in China, we have Oreo Baker, both fantastic managers. Now, I want to insert the value in this table. Now, I could go through and I could say, well, China, that's Oreo. I could copy this, paste it up here, but that's a lot of work, especially considering this table is fairly large. This is where Vlookup can help us. Like we've been doing this entire time, let's insert an equal sign, and for the formula, let's type in Vlookup. Next, let's open the parentheses, and first it's going to say, what are you searching for? Well, we're searching for China because if it's China, well, there's a specific manager in China, so this is our search key or the lookup value. So I'm going to select that cell. Next, let's enter a comma. Next, it's going to ask me what is the range that I'm looking for this value in. Basically, I'm looking for China where? Well, I'm looking for China in this table, so I'm going to highlight this table down below. Now, right now, this is a relative reference. What does that mean? Well, if I take this formula and I copy it down, the table will also shift down. I want to make this an absolute reference. What that means is when I select this table, as I copy the formula down, it'll continue to look just at this table and it won't adjust the position of this table. To make it an absolute range, I'm going to click on the F4 key and you see that it inserts $ in front of the letters and the numbers. Basically, that's fixing it to just look at this table. Next, let's enter another comma, and here it says the index. The index is what value I want to get back. What that means is it'll look for China in this table. When it finds China, which column does it send back? Does it send back the first column or the second column? Well, I want to get the manager back, and that's the second column, so the index is 2. I'll now enter another comma, and here the last piece of the formula is sorted. My list is not sorted because China shows up last and C shows up in the alphabet before U, so it's not a sorted list. I'm going to enter false up here, but if it was a sorted list, I could type in true. Now I'm going to close the parentheses and hit enter, and look, Oreo Baker is our manager in China. I'm going to drag this formula all the way down, and it automatically fills in who the manager is based on this table down below. And once again, because I used an absolute reference up here, it only looks at this table. Function number 18 is convert. This is a handy one if you need to convert between different units of measurement. For example, we recommend baking all of our cookies at 375 degrees. Now, for our European locations, they've been asking me, well, what is that in Celsius? Fahrenheit doesn't make any sense to us. Well, I can use the convert function to help with this. I'm going to enter an equal sign and then type in convert. Now I can open parentheses, and I want to convert 375 to Celsius. So for the value, I'm going to select 375. Next, I'll insert a comma, and it wants to know what is the starting unit. Now over here on the right-hand side, it shows all the different units that you can convert between. So you could convert in weight, in distance, in time. In this specific example, this is temperature, and here I see what I can convert between. So here I could convert between Fahrenheit, which is the F, and Celsius, which is the C. I'm going to insert a quote and enter F. This is my starting unit. Next, I'll enter a comma, and then for my end unit, I'm going to insert a quote, a C, because I want to convert into Celsius, and then close the quotes, and then close the parentheses, and then hit enter. Turns out that the ovens in Europe have to be running at 191 Celsius, and that'll ensure that our cookies bake at the proper temperature. Number 19, we're going to look at the today function. If you've seen any of my YouTube videos, you realize that I always start off by saying today. So what does today actually mean? Well, I think Google Sheets might know. Let's insert an equal sign, type in today, and then open and close a parentheses and hit enter. And this tells us what today is. Today is October 28th, 2020. Now, as an added bonus, what if you also want to know the time? Well, once again, let's enter an equal sign, type in now, open and close your parentheses, and hit enter. And here we have not only the date of today, but we also have the time. Number 20, and this is the last one of today. At the Kevin Cookie Company, we're looking at running a social media advertising campaign, but we're limited to 20 characters. We came up with all of these different taglines, but how do we know how many characters are in each tagline? Well, we can use the len function. To use this, enter an equal sign and then type in len. Next, let's open the parentheses and click on this row. Next, we'll close the parentheses, and here it tells me that it's 28 characters long. That's too long for our campaign, so unfortunately we won't be able to use deliciousness in every bite. I kind of like that one, but I guess we'll have to pass on it. Next, I can copy the formula all the way down, and here I see that we have 3 taglines that fall under the 20 character limit: My Love My Cookie, Order, Eat, Repeat, and Love at First Bite. I think I prefer Love at First Bite. I think we'll use that for our social media campaign. All right, congratulations. You made it through the top 20 formulas and functions in Google Sheets. By knowing those, you are now pretty proficient with using Google Sheets, and in fact, these same formulas and functions work in most other spreadsheet applications like Microsoft Excel or WPS Office, so you're well on your way to mastering spreadsheets. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get a notification anytime new content like this comes out. And lastly, if you want to see me cover any other topics in the future, leave a note down below and I'll add it to my list of videos to create. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.